Okay. Awesome. So, our guest speaker, Daniel Kems, is a versatile designer with robust experience and a keen eye for detail. As a seasoned project manager, he has successfully led numerous projects to completion, showcasing exceptional leadership and organizational skills. He is also the visionary founder of the School of Life and Wisdom, an institution dedicated to training and transforming the mindset of young people for excellence. Additionally, he is the convener of AFTT, Aiming for the Top, a training platform dedicated to inspiring and guiding others toward achieving their full potential. With a lot of clapping, a lot of emojis and joy, let us gladly welcome Daniel Kems, Mr. Daniel Kems, as he begins the session. Thank you very much, sir, for joining the session.
All right. Good evening. Can you guys hear me? Can you hear me clearly? Let me make sure you can hear me clearly.
Yes, I hear you.
All right. Let me turn on my music. Okay. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for the invite.
Thanks.
I'm happy to be here, and I hope with this little time we have to share, we can learn a thing or two. Right. So I'll just go straight to the point. I think the subject is how to hack productivity, if I'm not mistaken. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
All right. So I wouldn't want to bore you with many point ones and point one and point two, point three thereabouts. I just want to go straight to the point. Right. So productivity is centered on achieving your goals. That's what that's the gear towards productivity. And so I just want to teach you like I'm telling you a story. Right. For every person alive, we have I would not say there's a particular reason why you are alive, but you can make a reason why you want to be alive, right? You can make it a subject of life. What I realize is there are many questions as pertaining to life because we cannot really figure that out. You cannot really figure out life in details. And nobody can really say they have answered the question of life. People will keep getting confused. People will keep giving their best hypothesis, their best answers as to why life is and as to why we are here. Religion has its answers. Everybody has their answers. But what is important is the answer you give to yourself as regards why you are here and why you want to live. Right? So I can tell you for certainty that there will continually be cultural diversities, there will continually be religious differences, there will continually be, even going to the Christian space, there will continually be denominational crisis. But and they can easily pose distractions. That's the main thing. They can easily pose distractions. But what's important to every individual is how they make up their life. How your life turn out is completely 100% your responsibility. What you make out of your life is your responsibility. And these are the factors that engineer productivity. Right? These are the factors that engineer productivity. Why am I? I'm trying to tell you this so that you will know what the essence of productivity is. Why should I be productive? Right? You need to be productive because you have given yourself a goal, a target. You understand? So this is me as an individual. I'm telling myself, right? I'm here and I'm trying to figure out life. Being born and getting to this point has given me different mindset, cultural mindset, religious mindset, different understanding about life. So from everything I've learned and from everything I should begin to learn, it should bring me to a point of how I want my life to go from ends. Right? I can tell you categorically that within the next 70 years, we cannot really say every one of us will still be alive. Right? So let's say I give myself 60 to 70 years. What do I want to make out of my life in 60 to 70 years? See, so this gives your life a timeline. Most people do not really get to these details. I have 60 to 70 years to be here. That's you being very detailed about your life. Just give yourself that this is the basics. Okay, from everything I've learned and from everything, this is where my life is at this point. Right? I have 60 to 70 years to be here. What can I make out of this life? What can I make out with this time? So when you have that kind of time space in mind, it helps you to plan more, for every time I'm utilizing or wasting or whatever, it's cutting from that 60 to 70 years. Right? For every time I'm living, it's minus. For every new birthday, it's minus 70 years. Okay, now I have 69 more years. Now I have, this is you being very objective. This is you being very hopeful. This is you having faith that you will get to the 60 to 70 years mark. Right? So putting that in mind, I'm just being very, very factual. So I'm telling myself that, okay, this is, if I want to tell myself, I tell myself that this is me personally. Let's say I have 40 years to do this, but I'm targeting 70. Do you understand? I have 40 years to do all this, but I'm targeting 70. If I can do this at 40, beautiful. Then for the remaining 30 years, I have the legacy to keep. But in cryptocurrency, they call it soft market cap and hard market cap. So the hard market cap is your overall target. But the soft market cap is, if you get to soft market cap, at least you can push ahead with the project. Right. So my soft cap is 40, my hard cap is 70. If I can do all these things I have to do within 40 years, good for me. You understand? So it gives me more room to do more things in the remaining 30 years. Right. But always have that timeline in mind. This is me personally. This is one of the things that helped me to be productive, because I get questions on productivity every time, and I will tell you categorically that along the line you will get tired, you will get confused, you will get weary, you will get everything, blah blah blah. But you see, once you have a timeline in mind, it helps you become focused, because you know that for everybody, many people are just living because they feel that they are here to live, and they do not know when they are going. They are just occupying the time. But for a person that has a time limit, for a person that has a time limit, a time goal, or a goal with which a time with which you can achieve his goal, it helps to streamline your focus. So I have 40 years to be. I have 40 years to be here. Hopefully, I get 70. What can I do with 40 years? This is not you. This is not you praying for long life or praying to die untimely. This is you planning your goals. I have 40 years to be here. If I live so much, I have 70 more years. What can I do in 40 years? So that helps you to cut down your time to say, okay, what can I do in the next 5 years? What can I do in the next 10 years? What can I do in the next 15 years? What can I do in the next 20 years? How can I grow what I've done in the next 20 years and expand it within the next 20 years after that 20 years? So what I mean is, let's say I'm 35 now, and I make up that realization. And let's say I have 40 more years, or let's just say, let me use 30. I'm 30 now. Let's say I have 40 more years to live. And with that 40 more years that I have to live, what can I do in 40 years? So I tell myself that within the next 5 years, what can I do? What can I achieve? Within the next 10 years, I'll be 40 by that time. What can I do in the next 10 years? What can I do in the next 15 years? What can I do in the next 20 years? So at 50, how can I take all I've done and magnify it, build a better legacy for the next 20 years? That's taking me to 70. Right. So putting that into careful consideration helps you to properly plan your time. You see, if you don't see, people assume that they will be productive without having time limits. I can tell you categorically that your productivity will be dropping if you keep procrastinating. And procrastination comes from not being disciplined to meeting your timely targets. You understand? If I'm disciplined enough, for me personally, I don't give myself daily targets. My first target is yearly. So when I'm coming to this year, this is what I plan to achieve this year. Right? That's my first target. So what I plan to achieve this year. So that's my own target. So how do I achieve this year? And most of the time, my target for the year, I finish it 4 or 5 months before the end of the year. And I do not set so much targets for the year. I just say, this is the main 2 things I want to achieve this year. You understand? Because I have a long-term goal, right? I have a long-term goal, and I have something shorter. Then I have something shorter. Can you guys hear me? I think there's a sound. Can you guys hear me?
We can hear you, sir.
There's a sound that's okay. All right. So, like I said, what is my long-term goal? I'd love to be a billionaire at 50. It's my long-term goal. Have I crafted out a way to achieving that billionaire target? Right. Have I crafted out a way to achieve that billionaire? Yes, I've crafted out ways to achieve that billionaire target. What can I do in the next 3 years that takes me closer to that target? Right. So if I've said this is what I would like to do, this is what because I've carefully sat down. Who are the current billionaires I can see? What have they done? How did they get to where they get to? This is how I live my own life. I live life by studying. I'm not a fan of reading so and so books to be successful. No, that's not my own core principle. I love biographies. That's me. I love biographies. I love stories of these people, how they live their life, how they plan their time. Understand? So I love those stories. So let's say I take out 4 to 5 billionaires. I've once studied the top 30 billionaires at that time. So I studied some of them that was attracted to their story. Okay, so from these 30 billionaires, how did they get to where they were or where they are? Because I think most of them are still alive. Some got there by inheritance, some got there by buying shares of company. Let's use the story of Warren Buffett, for instance. Warren Buffett got to where he is by carefully buying shares, you understand? So he has Google shares, he has some of the shares of the big companies. He bought the shares of Berkshire Hathaway, and he became the biggest shareholder, making him the chairman of the board of directors. You understand? He has Google shares, he has Coca-Cola shares, he has Apple shares, most of all the shares. You understand? So some got there by building a product that became a national or international product. In the case of Bill Gates, some got there by building a brand that kept growing and acquiring other brands. The owner of Louis Vuitton, you see, Bernard Arnault, that's his name, I think so. So every of these people have their story, you understand? So from their story, I can craft a personal story I would love to create. What that means is I will build a product that I'm targeting is going to be an internationally used product. You understand? But how do I build this product? I need to get the skill set for this product. Either I get the skill set of this product, or I build to an extent where I can get people that can collab to build this product. What kind of product do I need to build? There are different ways to build a product. You can build a product from scratch. You can, let's say you're trying to build a very big product. Majority of the time, your product, for you to build that big product, you have to build to get to that big product. I know this is a productivity class, but just follow me. So to get that big product, many times you have to build this product that you sell off to get finance for the next level product that you sell off to get finance for the highest level product. That's the story of Elon Musk. Elon Musk's first product, he sold it for, I think, is it $30 million or so? Then he built another product and he sold it for, I think, $150 million. Then Tesla. I don't know if it was one that built Tesla or he bought shares. I cannot remember the exact story. But that was the story. The reason you need to have this kind of plan because it creates focus. Because along the way, you need to keep remembering why you are doing all this. If not, you get confused or you get tired or you get weary. If you do not remember why you are doing all this, it's easy for you to lose track. If my foremost goal is a billionaire at 50, when I get weary, I remember I have to be a billionaire at 50. When I get tired, I remember I have to be a billionaire at 50. When I get confused, I remember I have to be a billionaire at 50. If that's the goal, it helps me to continue. Because I'm not doing motivation here. I'm not trying to motivate myself. I just know that I have to be a billionaire at 50. So if at 50 I'm not a billionaire, I should at least have built up to $200 million. That's my personal target. That does not mean I will still not target being a billionaire. It means that I would have to add 10 more years to get to that billionaire status. You understand? So with this, I know how to build productively. So if you are just telling yourself that, if you do not know why you're doing what you're doing, there's no need to be productive. There's no need to be serious. You can just keep getting whatever life gives you. But see, if you have set up a target, you know why you need to be productive. And you know the yardstick to checkmate your productivity. How do I know I'm being productive if I do not have a goal? How do I know I'm being productive if I have not set up a target? I need to have a goal. It's when I meet that goal, I can mark myself as good for productivity. But if there is no goal and I'm just doing what I like to do, how do I judge that I'm growing? How do I judge that I'm being productive? And this is what people do not understand. There is nothing that limits you from becoming anything you love to become. The only thing that limits you is your personal perception about your own abilities. Either I've judged my abilities as too small to get to this level, or I keep listening to what people around me tell me about my abilities. If not, there is nothing. If people have started from the base and they got to where they got to, it means that I can get to where I want to get to. If you are a lady, they are female billionaires. If you are a guy, they are male billionaires. If you are a lady, they are female millionaires. If you are a guy, when I'm talking about millionaires, I'm talking about in dollars. I'm not talking about in naira. So they are female billionaires and they are female billionaires. If you want to be a CEO, they are female CEOs. In fact, there are CEOs that sit on different boards. If you are in Nigeria, there are female millionaires in dollars in Nigeria. There's Folorunsho Alakija, there is Ibuku Awoshika. Ibuku Awoshika sits on different boards. You understand? So the stories of these people should keep. In fact, if it means putting their pictures in your house so that you keep seeing where you want to get to, it's a good one. If it means putting their pictures in your house to keep seeing where you're. For me personally, if you check my wallpaper is Cristiano Ronaldo. You understand? Not just because of his footballing abilities, but for his level of discipline, personal motivation, and continual development. That's why it's my wallpaper. That's why his picture is always in my head. That's why I watch every of his match. That's why, because I've been following this guy. And when I keep seeing him do what he does, it motivates me to keep doing what I have to do. Because personally, I would love to have a football club when the time is right. And I'm telling you that there's a Nigerian lady that has 2 football clubs. But you wouldn't know because many people have not started to do their research. If a lady like you, many ladies that are here, can have 100% shares of a football club, I think in Brazil and Portugal, it means that nothing stops you from doing what you have to do. So if you do not know or see people achieving what they are achieving, you will not know that there's so much you can do. That's one of the things that actually surprised me because I was like, a lady I'm not telling you she bought 70% shares or 30% shares or 50% shares. She has 100% shares. When the club needed to sell, she came and bought 100% shares of the club. You understand? So never for once think that as a lady you are limited to just at most becoming a manager for a bank or this and that and that. That is the expectation you set for yourself when all you see is those around you. You can set more expectation by becoming more exposed. Right? For some of you that decided to be here, this is you reaching far because you would never have known that there are people achieving so much if you were not here. You understand? Think of your family. Let's think of your family name. How many people knows your family name? Today now you know Dangote, you know $10 because one person decided to put their name on the map. If people are going to know your family name, it's going to be dependent on your ability, on your personal decision. Right? So that brings us back to productivity. So if I've set up these goals for myself, this is where I have to get to. Remember I said I have 40 more years to live. What can I do with these 40 years? I now break my expectation and I say, okay, by 40 years, I would love to be a billionaire. How many billionaires do we have? How did they become billionaires? And what was the time frame it took them to be billionaires? How did they get there? Right? Okay, this is how they got to become billionaires. How do I create my own story with these templates? This is how I create my own story. But my own story now, how do I break everything into 40 years? Okay, I have to build a product, I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to do that. So how do I fit this into these 40 years? Giving myself short-term goals. So let's say I want to have a fashion brand like Louis. Let's say I want to have a fashion brand like Louis Vuitton. How do I start to build? First, I need to get fashion expertise. I have to decide which way I would love to enter. Either I'm going as learning fashion, or I'm going as an illustrator, I'm going at this or that. Understand? So I begin to look at those within this space. Who are the foremost fashion designers in Nigeria? We have Yomi Kajwa. We have, what's this guy? I can't remember this guy. We have Ugo Moye. We have, there's this popular guy in Abuja. I keep forgetting his name. We have that guy. I try to remember each. I try to outline each of them. Okay, this is how they got to where they are now. They learned, they built, and they are there. So how do I start the journey? Okay, let's say in my state where I am now, who is the best? Or who are the best in my state? I try to learn from them. You understand? And I start building something from there. How can I get the money? Either I'm getting from my parents, either I'm trying to look for a soft skill that can. These people do not know why they even need to work. You understand? For now, why am I trying to get a job now? I'm trying to get a job not because I want to remain an employee, because I have a target. You understand? I have a financial target. I want to learn. I want to be able to afford a class from the best in my state or the best in my community or whatever. That's what I'm working for now. So immediately I build that target, I'm reaching for the next level. So I get that person's class. How do I now begin to build the fashion business? There are free business classes on YouTube. I can attend the business class by anybody that's doing the business class just to begin to get the skill. Okay, now let's say I've gotten to that level. Now I'm targeting the next level. How do I learn from the best in Nigeria? They charge 1 million, they charge 2 million. How do I begin to save up that money? What fashion businesses can I build to get into that level? The fashion business or the fashion business target, let's say, is 5 million. With 5 million naira, you can build fashion business. So I start to save up that money. I start to build. Let's say I now start to let's say I start taking clientele for my fashion brand. Why I'm improving myself in fashion. There are free classes you can take to improve yourself in fashion. There are online classes you can take. Go to Domestica, you see courses just so that I can build my fashion business. Why? I now have a target. I want to afford the class of Ugo Moye. I want to afford the class of some of these best guys. Let's say, what's this lady's name? Vicky James. I want to afford their classes. My target is 5 million. This is why I do everything I'm doing now, because I have to raise 5 million. And once I've raised 5 million, I've gotten a class. Now, after getting that expertise, how do I begin to build my business? Firstly, now I already have a business now that I'm building. How do I scale this business up? What other businesses can I add around that? What is the fashion choices or fashion preference in my environment, and how can I maximize that? Let's say the target now is to build up that kind of business, you need 5 million. Let's say, okay, you are in a place where people do not have embroidery machines, you understand? People have to go and do embroidery in a particular place. People do not have a knitting machine. So how do I get this knitting machine? How do I get this embroidery machine to make myself the point of call in that place? See, these are the questions you keep asking yourself when you have a target. You know where you are. This is what having a goal does. You know where you are at the point. That's the thing. You always know where you are. For instance, now, if my target is to build a tech giant in the next 30 to 40 years, I know where I am at that particular point. And I know where I still have to get to. Do you understand? That is what having a goal does for you. So now, after getting disciples courses and all that, and I've been able to, I'm still trying to save up, it can take you 5 years, it can take you 10 years. But the thing is, you have a goal and you are consistently getting positive feedbacks as you move. That's one thing I can tell you categorically that. Can you guys hear me? Because I think I'm hearing something on the background. Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right. Right. So this is the encouraging thing about chasing a goal. You keep having positive feedbacks on your journey. And sometimes you feel discouraged and all that, but you keep having positive feedbacks. Right. So once I can get to this is one, then this is an additional thing that I always encourage people. That helps me. It has always helped me. Look, anytime you get across to, anytime you have, let's say you have a new mentor or a new role model and all that, look for a way to always be their best students. Look for a way to always be their best protege. Look for a way to always be in their books. You know why that's important? Because they will keep telling you things that you would not learn in the main class. If it has not worked for me, I would not tell you. Anytime you come around a mentor, anytime you come around a trainer, always look for what it takes to becoming their best student. You understand? Look for things that they need and give it to them. If it means you sending them 2,000 a month, 5,000 a month, 10,000 a month, buying airtime or subscribing for them a month. See, it looks funny, but they would keep gravitating to your direction. And what that does for you is things that they do not tell other people, they will tell you. It has worked for me. It works for everybody. I think Joshua Selman said this some time ago when he was talking about how you will see people missing big occasion just to go for the birthday of a billionaire's child. I mean, these guys have big occasions, but just the birthday of the billionaire's 10 years old child, they will be there. Why? Because they are looking for ways to be in this person's good books because it benefits them. When you see all these billionaires do their birthday, they will always look for ways to be there. Why? Two things is because it gives you access to bigger community. When I was learning the financial market years ago, this was 2021, 2022. The person I was learning from is actually one of the best guys I've seen. I was doing designs for him at that time. And so there's a class where all of us are, and when he gives assignment, I'm always the first to do the assignments and all that. Then, because of my level of commitment, he added me to another secret group. See, I didn't pay for this one, but because of the commitment, because of my personal addition to his life, because of the way I added value to his life, he now brought me to another room. That room, I think there were just 3 or 4 people. He was now having personal classes with me. And he told me he would train me and show me things that he doesn't teach in class. So this guy will set up a call. Let's have a call by so and so time. We'll have a call. He will be showing me things in the market, teaching me things in the market, telling me how to analyze the market better than what other people were having. I didn't pay for this. But you see, the way I was adding value brought me to that inner space. So as you are growing in life, when you meet people that have what it takes, look for a way to add extra value into their life because that brings you to their inner space. There's people like Jimmy Adekboye, Pastor Jimmy Adekboye. At every point in time, I've gotten the opportunity to be close. I've always done things that put me in his inner space. So today now I can call him and tell him, okay, sir, this is it and this is that. He'll tell me, okay, Daniel, do this, add this to this, do this, add this to that. And so what I would get from 5 minutes call, 10 minutes call, are things that people would naturally pay to get in the class. Why? Because of the value I've added over time. When my mentor is coming around, I look for ways to be there. I look for things to do. Why? See, all these personal values, people like Vicky James, people like all these big guys have what they are doing. Have people that are in their close space because of their value. Let's use people like Sabinus, for instance. Now, if you look at Sabinus, you look at some guys that are now big influencers because of their proximity with Sabinus. Use Unduka, for instance, now. Unduka might have been trying for 50 years or 10 years to make a name, if not for his level of dedication to Sabinus. You see, so because of his dedication and followership to Sabinus and the values added to Sabinus, it gave Sabinus the art to add value to him. Let's use Sabinus and Burna Boy. We saw that Burna Boy's conference, his show he did in UK, where he had about 80,000 people in the UK. He brought Sabinus to perform there in the front of 80,000 foreign audience. There are values that Sabinus adds to Burna Boy that other content makers may not be adding, that made him bring Sabinus to that kind of environment. And that kind of environment is, we take Sabinus, give him sponsorship deals that are big. These are additions. These are additions. You see, when we talk productivity is not how much time I spend watching a course. That's not necessarily productivity. Productivity is how closer am I to my goals and targets. So productivity for me can be sitting down with a pen and paper and setting up strategies. Productivity with me can be just trying to network to get more connection. The productivity for somebody that is aspiring to become a stand-up comedian, and somebody that is aspiring to be a developer, and somebody that's aspiring to be a politician are different kinds of productivity. The person that's aspiring to be a politician may not need to be taking courses online, may not need to go and be taking courses. He's looking for how he's going to build strong connection in the grassroots politics, state politics. My productivity, so I do not expect somebody that's aspiring to be a comedian to be following me, to be watching courses every day online. Because we have different targets and different goals and different ambitions. What it takes me to get my goal is different from what is taking him. I may have to stay up night working and learning and all that. That is not the route he has to take. For me, what it takes me to reach my goal, I need a lot of knowledge, I need a lot of skills, because if I'm trying to become this, I have to be in touch with knowledge. So that's why it's taking me this direction. Another person may not have to go this route. So that's why I said you have to come to your own conclusion, personal conclusion of what you want, where you want to get to, how people that have gone ahead of you got there, how you can use their templates to get in there. That's what productivity means. So productivity is objective to the individual, subjective to the individual. It's not general. So what can I do every day, every week, every month that takes me to this goal that I've set up for the next 3 years, that I've set up for the next 30 years, that I've set up for the next 40 years? That is what productivity means. And one of the major acts of productivity is the consistent reminder of why I am doing this in the first place. Why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? Why do I have to do this? Why did I start this in the first place? I started this because I want to be a billionaire at 40. But if I want to be a billionaire in the next 40 years. But also, within the next 10 years, I would love to buy a house for my mother and ask my father. So what can I do along the line that brings this reality closer? It is not wrong to have money as your goal for being productive. Those charity events, for me personally, I would love to build a charity organization with my wife. That's my personal goal. The same way we have Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. I would love to have that kind of foundation. Understand? I would love to do a lot of things for the community, a lot of projects, build hospitals and this and that and that. So these are part of the why I'm doing this in the first place. So if I want to have that kind of foundation, whenever I see people struggling, I see people cannot meet up with their school fees, it reminds me of the why I have to do this. Because it feels like they are waiting for me. That's why I have to be productive. Somebody that does not have that goal does not need productivity. Why? Because the person decided that he wants to take whatever life brings. So as he keeps taking whatever life brings, he does not have a target. But you that have a target need to set your route. Firstly, you need to set the time. Secondly, you need to set the route. Thirdly, you need to set the destination or the shortcuts to that route. Then you need to know the how. All this in place, and I tell you, one major act of productivity is to understand your persona. Me personally, I don't like putting myself under pressure that I have to do this today, I have to do this today. What that does for me is I have to achieve this month. I have to achieve this week. And when I want to do that, I commit myself in the sense that I tell somebody close to me, I say, I would love to do this by this time. I tell like 2 or 3 persons. So that puts me at a crucial position because by that time they have to ask me, have you done it? In 2019, I told my mom I would be making this money by 2020. That put me at a committed spot. And in 2020, I did it. The same way I've told my mom things I would love to do in 2025. And those are the whys. Those are the short cuts, or the short term goals that leads to my long-term goal, which I have for the next 40 years. So there are no special ways to start saying this. So when you have set this plan, you now know what works for you. For you personally, I learned something from Chris Annie long time ago about work ethics. So this is why I love Ronaldo, because his personal work ethics motivates me. Anytime I see him going, I'm motivated. I look at Elon Musk. Anytime I see him going, I'm motivated. I look at Warren Buffett. Anytime I see him going, I'm motivated. It tells me that I have things to do. When I see people's founders, young founders speaking at top events, global events, it reminds me that there is a target I've set and I have to get there. This is it. So, like I said, while I was, I worked as camera operator for a while when I was working for Daba. I remember, because we were staying, the office, our head office was at Lekki, so I was staying at the office at that point in time. So I remember I would leave the web boy sleeping. I love to sleep inside the office. So because there was light and all that, and yeah, I'll take my laptop, I'll go into the office and I'll just be learning some things, doing some things. But I remember sometimes I'll see Christian inside his office. He will leave his office by 2, by 3. Going on because his house was within the estate. Right. So because of that, when you see his public story, it's a motivation that if you yourself can give in the work and take the risk, you will definitely have that kind of story. I really didn't expect to be where I am today. Definitely, I have a target. I knew that everything I was working was going to pay inevitably, but I really didn't know it may seemingly be this quick. Because if you told me in the last 3 years that you'll be here by so and so time, I would have laughed. But I believed, but I would still have laughed. You understand? So this puts in my head that if you can achieve this in this time, it means that these other ones are achievable. You would keep getting positive feedbacks on the journey. This is what keeps you motivated that your long-term goal is a possibility. So it means that if your long-term goal is $500 million at 40, if you continue with that tenacity, that agility, that focus, even if you could not get $500 million, you would have at least $150 million. That's a certainty. If you continue doing and putting the work. So what does it take for me to achieve this goal? That is where productivity comes in. I need to have machine learning skills to a very core level. I would love to work in a top company. What does it take to work in so and so company? I go to this company, I see their criteria for hiring, let's say, a machine learner. The machine learner must be good in all this. These are the things I will now focus my learning on. So you can go to their job, their career session and say, they are looking for a developer, they are looking for this and that. What do they need? What are the criteria for being a developer that is qualified to work in this kind of company? Those are now what I build my learning on. Because these are some of the things you need to build money for your next phase. You need to divide your life into phases. This is the phase I am. And the best way to divide your life into phases is by your earning. This is the kind of earning I would need to have to know that I'm in phase 2. This is the kind of earning I will need to have to now in phase 3. And when I get to phase 3, this is what I should be doing as phase 3. I should now have the finance enough to start building houses and selling to flip my money in terms of real estate. So what do I need to get to that phase? I know some of you may not have thought this big, but you see, it is the big thinking that expands your head. Personally, I told myself that I was going to use my brain more and use my mind more. So I began to stress my ability. So instead of me to be jotting everything down, I started to use my head. So this is what it does for me. Is every time I try to make my head work. So I'm a designer for 4 brands, right? And only one of that brand is domiciled in Nigeria. The other ones, they are based in UK and the US. So what that does for me is, at every point in time, my mind is roaming. What have you not done? What do you have left? What are your meetings for today? What are your deliveries for today? This expands my mind's ability to retain information. So my mind is always roaming. My mind does that like every 1 hour or every 30 minutes. I just like, what is left to be done? What should you be doing? What are your deliveries for this time? So I begin to think. I begin to overround. I begin to think, like, okay, about what I should deliver this today. I should deliver that today. So I do that. This is me trying to train my mind to do more. See, people need to understand that you need to train yourself. You need to train your mind. Your mental capacity is not fixed. It's possible for it to be elasticized. And you alone determines the limits. These factors help your productivity. The extent to which you can use your mind, the extent to which you can use the extent to which you can think, aids your productivity. It puts you at an advantage people you're around you do not have. If people are using their mind or brain capacity to 50% and you decide to use yours to 80%, you would have more advantages than them. These are some of the subtle acts that you need to put in place for you to have more productivity than those around you. And always be close to the most intelligent in the room. It helps your productivity. So I spoke about always having to add extra value to any person of greatness that comes around your way. Always be close to the most intelligent in the room. Let them tell you what they do outside what everybody's doing. Let them constantly tell you, this is what I'm doing. This is how I learn. This is how I do this. It helps you to improve yourself. Like I'm telling you now categorically that I use my mind more. So sometimes when I'm learning or I'm working, I try to play soft music at the background that helps in my retentive nature. So when I remember this music 10 years from now, it can help to bring some of the points I learned while I was taking that class. Do you understand? Like I said, your mental capacity is not limited, it's not fixed. You determine the limit. So it can be elasticized to the extent to which you want it to be. All right, so this is me telling you a long story. Give yourself a time limit. I have 40 years. Look at the people that have achieved what you want to achieve in the next 40 years. How did they do that? Use that to build a template for your own life. Cut your goals into bits. 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 30, 25 years, 30 years, 40, 45 years. Divide your life into phases. This is when I know I'm in phase 1. This is when I'm in phase 2. This is when I know I'm in phase 3. This is when I'm in phase 4. Let that help you to create short-term goals, yearly goals, monthly goals, thereabouts. Don't always put yourself under pressure to achieve something every day. Put yourself at pressure to achieve something every week. It gives you time. You understand? So every week. So those under my mentorship, you have weekly targets. This is what I want to achieve this week. So I know I have to achieve it this week, but I'm not under pressure to achieve something every day. But achieving something little every day takes you closer to your weekly target. So all this helps you to get to your ultimate destination. So I'll be stopping here for tonight. I think I've exhausted the time I was I was given to. So if there are room for questions, I will hand over to Ennis. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for that enlightening session. It was very relatable, and I'll be pointing out some of the things you said that stood out for me, and I'm sure also stood out for some of us before we move to question and answer session. So you started by explaining how that you need to set a time limit, because if you don't have a time limit, then there's no way you can be productive. So you need to tell yourself, okay, be very objective to tell yourself that you have maybe assuming you have like 70 years to live on it, be very objective to tell yourself that, oh, you have 40 years more, and this is how you plan to spend that 40 years. There's something else that also stood out for me is the fact that you said a lot of people are not productive because they don't know what to do in the first place. They don't know why they are doing what they do. They don't know what to do. They have no idea. They're just like no direction, and so there's no way they can be productive. And I think this is the issue with many young people. It's so hard to gain clarity. We're not clear on what to do and things like that. And so just trying to be productive without knowing why you want to be productive or what you're even trying to be productive at in the first place just makes everything confusing. And then you also mentioned that productivity is not how much time you spend watching a course. And I think this is something that a lot of people misunderstand, including me. So it's not how much time you spend watching a course or doing something, but it is how more or how closer you are to your goals at every point. So you can't judge your productivity by the courses you took or by the books you read. Maybe you've read 10 books or 100 books, or by the things particularly that you did, the tasks that you completed. But your productivity should be judged on how closer you are to your goal each and every time. So in that sense, productivity is different for everybody, for each person, and we need to take note of that. So now we'll be moving to the question and answer section. If you have questions, now is a good time to drop them in the chat. Or you, yeah, I think you should drop them in the chat so that I can just read it out. From the Google Forms, from the registration form, we already had some questions, so I'll just go ahead to read them out. Okay, so the first question here is, how can I handle being in school, learning a tech skill, and maintaining my relationships all at once? It gets really exhausting sometimes. So we have about 5 questions down already. So should I take them one after the other, or
Yeah, I think you should take them after the other.
okay? So the first is, how can I handle being in school, learning a tech skill, and managing my relationships all at once?
So when you say relationship, you mean like romantic relationship or friendship relationship? I need to understand.
It was not specified.
Okay, I will assume it's relationship because that looks like a female kind of question. Okay, about relationship, I feel personally what's important is communication, right? You guys set up a target on how frequent you want your communications to be, considering the fact that everybody gets busy. You understand? When you're in school, personally, I cannot really give you good advice on school because I didn't take my own schooling serious because it wasn't really what I wanted. I just needed a certificate, right? So, but the person that can say is about how you plan your time. That's simple thing. You have to plan your time. Plan your time means understanding when do I have to sleep or when do I have to rest and when do I have to work. So if I have 18 hours a day, I should spend, and I know I spend at least, let's say 8 in the morning to 6 in the evening. That's 10 hours in school, right? I can spend at least 1 hour in every 2 days or 2 hours in every 2 days facing my course. There's sometimes I will not meet up. That's one thing people do not tell themselves. That's the truth. You cannot learn every day. Some people can. But for me personally, I have courses I'm watching, but I do not watch those courses every day. Sometimes I just feel like I should just rest today because I'm always working. You understand? So set those targets for yourself. I need to learn. I give people time when they're trying to. I don't tell people watch your course 1 hour every day. I'll rather tell you set up 1 hour every 2 days to watch your course or to attend to your courses. 1 hour every 2 days. Some of those courses you have are 18 hours courses, 11-hour courses. In terms of the full course, it's 11 hours, 18 hours. You understand that sometimes you may need to add more research. That's what makes it longer. But that's the time. So if I can dedicate 1 hour to my course in every 2 days, in at least 1 month, 2 months, I should have finished this course. You understand? And I should have more time for practice. Your relationship is something you can manage based on your communication. The reason we have many communication gaps is people enter a relationship with the expectation that this person is trying to fill a void in their life. So they want the person time every minute. If I'm eating, I want the person to know I'm eating. If I'm bathing, I want the person to know I'm bathing. You understand? These people do not have clue of what relationship. Relationship is just mutual agreement or mutual consent to move in a direction. So we have that in mind. I understand that you have to be working, I have to be working. At different point in time, even if it's a WhatsApp message you send to your partner and say, okay, how is it going? How's your time? So that you guys make up a call for 30 minutes or 15 minutes. Sometimes you may be free and decide to jump on the call. Sometimes you may have to meet and talk and discuss and spend time together. You understand? What's important is that you guys are moving in a targeted direction. Relationship is not, you see, when you think relationship is all about romance, you forget the target. You understand? That's just part of the reason. It's not everything. For people of these generations categorically that are dealing with a lot of loneliness and depression, feel that relationship is supposed to solve those problems. So the moment they are feeling depressed or feeling lost, they blame it on their partner for not being available. You understand? But if you have dealt with this yourself, you understand that your partner is not there to solve your 100% life problem. Your partner is there to complement you on your life's journey, your life goals. And you guys are building a consensus on that. So that helps you to know what you're expecting from this person. I do not expect this person to be there 2/7. I don't expect this person to be there 12 hours of the day. I expect this person to be there to the degree to which they are free when they have time, because they are pursuing their own goals, you are pursuing your own goals. But important is that you guys are moving in the same direction. Understand? Because that's one of the major things that's confusing these people. So, but when you guys feel that it's all about romance, you allow this thing to eat up your time for productivity. So have your time for school, set up 1 hour a day in every 2 weeks, maintain communication with your partner in the sense that at every day you guys should have been in touch. Somebody was telling me the other day, say, you can go 3 days without talking to his partner. I say, you are not in a relationship. You understand? I just let the person do. A simple message, how are you doing? How's your day going? How's work? How is school? How is classes? It solves a lot of problems. You guys can drop in a call for 5 minutes and give yourself the details of how your day went. That's simple. A simple good night, enjoy your night's rest, solves a lot of problems. So that's how I believe I've answered that person's question. So the next question, please.
Okay. How can I build discipline to always be productive, even on the days I don't feel like it? Even on days I feel like it, on some days I don't feel motivated at all. But I know I can't always wait for motivation to achieve my goals. So how do I build and stay disciplined?
Okay, I answered this question when I was teaching. Like I said, one of the things that keeps me geared in terms of productivity is why I decided to do it in the first place and where I'm going to. Right? So I do not really care about how I feel sometimes. I just know that if I need to get to my destination by the time I've planned aside, I need to put every other bullshit aside and just do what I have to do. Some days when you don't feel like it, sleep. Some days when you don't feel like it, watch a movie. Some days when you don't feel like it, do something else. Understand? But when you are doing that something else, remember that you have to resume tomorrow. What I mean is that if I tell myself I'm supposed to watch this course today, and I really don't feel like it at all, I tell myself, okay, I'm resuming tomorrow. Today, let me watch a movie. Today, let me rest. Understand? But remember that you have a goal. Understand? I have a target. I have a destination. I have to get there. Why? Because I have 40 years to live. I have 70 more years to live. If I don't do it, I will die feeling incomplete. And I know you don't have another second chance at life. This is your one chance. Do you understand? This is one thing I tell myself. I do not have a second chance at life. After this, it's all. So this is when I have to do every single thing I do. Nobody tells you that in the end that, okay, you couldn't do something. Let's just give you a second chance to try. It's not there. Everything I should do in this life, everything I know to do, I have to do them in this life. Because after this life, I've lost the abilities, I've lost the opportunities, I've lost time, I've lost everything. When you are 50, you can't go back to 30. You cannot even have the strength of 30 when you're 50. Your body keeps depleting, your energy keeps diminishing. So this is when you have the time, you have to do it. These are the things you tell yourself that helps your productivity. You keep repeating these things in your head. If I miss this time, if I don't become a billionaire at 50, the chances that I will ever become a billionaire in my life become slimmer. And I will never get a second opportunity. And I wouldn't want to be in my deathbed remembering all the legacies I would have made and never got the opportunity to make. Simply like a wasted life. You understand? These are the things you keep telling yourself that aids your productivity. If it means writing it on your phone, writing it on paper, putting it on your screen, putting it on your work there so that you keep seeing it. Like, this is what I have to do. This is why I have to do what I have to do. Because I don't have a second opportunity. Once I'm dead, it's gone. Once I'm 70, I cannot have the energy of 30 again. Once I start giving birth to children, I cannot have that time again. So I believe that also answers that question. Next question, please.
How many hours a day should you spend focusing on your goals in order to qualify as productive?
See, it's not the time necessarily. It's, like I said, it's what you have achieved. I don't put time into book when I'm trying to be productive, you understand? Because for me personally, I spend most of my productivity in thinking, you understand? That's what means making productive. I love to think, you understand? I spend my time thinking. That's one of the reasons I live alone, because I don't like distractions. Distraction not necessarily to my work or to my thinking. I solve most of my problem in my head before I attempt them, you understand? So I spend more time thinking. So it's not necessarily about the time spent, but the work done. If I say I want to design 5 designs today, I'm not telling myself that I have to work for 5 hours. I'm telling myself that I have to design 5 designs. If that 5 designs takes me 2 hours, good. If it takes me 7 hours, good. So it's not the time that I'm calculating, because most people that put time in at the back of their mind are thinking of the statistics they will give to people that ask them questions. Most people are looking for how to teach others, not how to be personally productive. Most people are looking for stories to tell others. I don't care about the story. I cannot tell you how long I work, but people that know me know I work. Sometimes I have to design 8 designs in a day. Sometimes I sit down in my laptop until I finish this design. I'm not standing up from here. That's what's important to me. I can stand up, exercise, go to the room, move around my compound, listen to music, watch a movie, play a game, come back. What is important is that day I have to finish what I've decided I'm going to finish. So it is not the time that's the problem. It's not the time, it's the work done. So, and how closer you are to your goals. What am I supposed to achieve this week? Have you achieved them? If you have not achieved them, 17 hours, 5 hours, 18 hours does not mean anything. So it's not the time, it's the extent to which you have achieved your written goals or your outline goals. I believe I've answered that question as well.
Yes. So there are 3 questions and they are quite similar. So I would mention them together around time management. So the first is how do you manage more than one? How do you manage your time if you are managing more than one business? And then how do I juggle through school, being a product designer at the same time? Whenever I try handling both at the same time, one suffers for it. And the last is also around time management, which is how do I go about managing my time, basically.
Okay, personally, I can feel like I'm the best person to answer that question, because I do a lot of things. Like I said, if I should begin to say the things I do, it will take time, because, like I said, I work for 3 brands. I have a mentorship platform. I mentor Pastor Christopher actually almost every day of my life. I have a community where I teach every week. I have a boot camp. I'm building a product with a friend, so that takes part of my time. In fact, we're supposed to have a meeting today, and I'm doing an internship. I'm supposed to have another meeting by 10:30. That means I have like 2 more meetings before the end of today. You understand? What's important in all of these things is me telling myself that I have to do what I have to do. You understand? In the sense that in managing my time, I cannot say I'm the best, because I sacrifice some things. People need to understand the level of sacrifice. You understand? So it means that I sleep less on some days. That's the thing. So if one thing has to suffer, for me, I tell myself that it has to be, I have to reduce on the time I sleep. So because of my work ethics, my sleeping time I've depleted to an extent. And you understand? And one of the things that helps me also is I don't like procrastinating. Understand? If you procrastinate, it makes your work compile. So as this work is coming, I like to finish this work when it's coming. So if this client comes and tell me that, if for instance now, the first company says, Daniel, we need this design. So what I do firstly is I design for 3 brands. This is what I do. I tell them that all the content for the design should be ready before the beginning of the month. Then I give them time for when they will get it. You understand? So what that does is that I try to finish the work for the whole month within the first week of that month. That's how I work personally. So if the first company has brought out their own content, second company has brought out their own content, third company has brought out their own content, I try to finish everybody's work. So that means that my first week of the year, of the month, can be very hectic. So I keep designing and designing. Every day I keep designing, nights I keep designing. Because why? Once I've cleared that schedule, it gives me more time. If I want to rest more, I have that time at the remaining part of the month. So that's my sacrifice. So that first week of the month, I'm like a working ox, you understand? So I keep working and working and working and working because I have to finish this. And when I'm done with that, I have more learning time. So the first week of the month is not when I'm thinking of learning, because I'm thinking of working. So I can tell myself, if I want to reduce the workload on myself, the first 2 companies, I'll deal with their work. Then the remaining company, I split their work. I do their work weekly. But what's important is this is how I've outlined my time. There is nothing you cannot achieve if you properly plan your time. You plan what works best for you. Understand? So that first week, I can tell myself, okay, what do I do? I decided, I want to eat well this week to give me more energy to work. I want to sleep for 2 hours in the afternoon to give me more energy to work at night. Okay, am I a night person? Am I a day person? So what can I do to help me work better? So when do I have more energy to work? How can I collaborate with friends to help me achieve more? Because that's the one area people do not know. There are people that you can collaborate with to help lessen your load. Some may be willing to do it for free, some may be willing to do it for just a little money. Collaboration is something I use. There are some things that are not my feet. I can just say to someone, okay, please, can you help me on this? And the person helps. I've delivered my deliverable. That's what's important. Understand? So managing your time is not something they teach you in class. It's something you figure out for yourself. But we can only give you the template when it comes to managing your time. You manage your time by understanding your working ability. To what extent can I work? That's the extent to which you manage your time. For me personally, like I said, I push my workload on my first week. So that first week, I try as much as possible to finish 70 to 80% of the workload in that first week. So that gives me more room for rest, more room for my courses, more room for the things I'm learning, more room for the mentorship, more room for everything. But personally, I've built a culture of always working that I really literally always work. Understand? I know some of you want to sleep for 8 hours, you want to eat your cake and you want to sleep for 8 hours and still be very, very productive. If it means cutting 2 hours from that sleep for a week or 2 weeks, you can use the remaining 2 weeks to do that your sleep. Understand? What's important is what you are achieving. You need to use your youthful energy to achieving concrete things, because the time will come where you would not have much of that energy or even much of the time. Especially when you are running with a family. You will not have the time to be learning multiple courses when you are nursing a child. If you have twins or triplets, you may not have that much time. This is when you have the time. So if it means you sacrificing the now to get your target, then good. Because it's not always easy. For the cybersecurity mentors internship I'm doing now, there's a lady that has 4 kids, and she's working as well and doing it with us, having meetings at night. It's not always easy for her, and we know. She always tells us that this and this and this and this and that. And that. We understand that she's taking more of her time. That's why we advise people to make the sacrifices now when they have more time you don't have kids yet. You understand? You are alone now. So now is when you can sacrifice more time. Take a little of your sleeping time. For some people usually love sleeping too much. Some people can sleep. I've said it. I can't sleep for 8 hours straight. I can't sleep for 7 hours straight. I can barely sleep for 6 hours straight. So my sleeping hour is majorly between 4 to 5 hours. It's now I'm even making more room to sleep more. You understand? And I can sleep more when I know that I've used my first week to finish all my projects. I can say, okay, let me just try to sleep 6 hours. But normally, it's between 4 to 5 hours. Understand? So I believe I've answered those questions.
Okay, one just came in the chat, and this will be the last because of our time. I'm trying to improve my productivity by reducing procrastination. Any specific techniques or tools to suggest?
Okay, when you want to tackle procrastination, one of the first things you do is committing yourself. What I mean is, tell somebody or tell 2 people to hold you accountable. Alpha, call your friend and say, Alpha, see, there's this thing I want to do, and I will not do it by so and so time. If I'm not doing it by so and so time, this is a very serious thing. I'll pay you so and so money. Just tell them. For instance, now, those on my mentorship platform, they know that if you do not meet your weekly target, you pay a fine. They do that. Some people, when they are paid fine like 2-3 weeks to sit their head down to say, okay, I have to do this. So you cannot just come there and lie because you will give me specifics of what you have done. You will share me outside. I need to see it. Understand? So tell your friend, call the person and say, see, Alpha, if I don't do this, I have to do this by so and so time. If I've not done it by so and so time, I'll pay you so and so money. That's one way to call procrastination. But me personally, I may not need to say money, but the fact that I've told the person that I have to do this, I've committed myself, and I try to be honest with myself. I don't like promising something I don't do. Especially when I've committed it to people that look up to me. I have to do this. Because I have friends that look up to me. In fact, I was talking to a friend and she was telling me if I could mentor her. Because she told me, she said, there's this steadfastness and zeal that you have that is rare to see. Because I have friends that look up to me. I have friends that know me. And I mean, these are my close friends that will talk and laugh. But they always use me as a yardstick for productivity and that because they see me. I have a friend that now is even improving. He had to, because of how I disturbed this guy, he works offshore. He's now improving himself. You understand? He had to go further in furthering his career. Because I keep disturbing him. They say, you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to do that, you have to do that. So most of the time, he come and tell me and say, Alpha, see, this thing is getting. I've been telling him since he has been slacking a little. But by the time he got one query at work, he knew that it was time. So he came to meet me and told me, okay, see you. I just said myself, okay, you know you have to do this. How are you going to do it? He said, I want to do it through this. Okay, no problem. Let's see. I will not take it seriously. I see concrete moves. By the time I saw that he has made concrete, I said, okay, no problem, now you are serious. So who are the kind of friends you don't have in the first place? For me, those that have me as friends know that it helps them in productivity. Because as far as you are close to me, I have to be seeing those markers that you are being productive. I don't enjoy having casual friends. It doesn't matter how casual we are as friends. It's important to me that we are making individual progress. It's important to me. So even those that are casual friends to me, I still ask them questions about their productivity. It's important to me. It's not about you, it's to me. So if you want to maintain that space, there has to be atoms of seriousness. I will ask you, what are you doing now? What are your plans? What are your targets? I will ask you. I will disturb you about it. If you are somebody I really like, I will disturb. In fact, you have to like you for you to be my friend. You understand? I will tell you about it. It doesn't matter how big it is or how small it is. I will disturb you. So have those kind of friends that will come back and tell you, did you do this thing you said you're going to do? Because me too, I have those kind of friends. I have to come back and call and say, Alpha, I want to do this thing. I have to do this thing. And one particularly, he will remind, I know. If I told this guy, I know he will remind me, did you do it? I know. So because of that, once I've told him I will do it, I have to do it. I have to. And say this, if you really want to do something, you can do it, and you will do it. you will do it. It's your choice. But put yourself in situations that forces you to do it. Even if it means you pay money as a fine, put yourself in a situation. Tell the person I'll pay you 10,000 if I don't do it. But pay the person 5,000. If I do it, give me the money back. If I don't do it, the money is yours. But put yourself in an implicated situation that forces you to do it. For me personally, I don't like my word not carrying weight. So if I told you I would do something, I like to do it. I believe I answered that person's question.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir, for this enlightening session. Thank you for making it very specific and relatable, such that it meets our needs and such that it's something that okay uh, we can take out these measures, we can take out these tips, we can take out these actions and start working on them. Thank you very much. Really appreciate you. Thank you for accepting our invitation at Gifted Brain Academy. Thank you for your time and we really appreciate it. Let's all thank our guest speaker as we wrap up this call.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. Okay, so this will
Thank
be
you very much, sir.
yes, this will be the end of this session. Thank you for joining. To all the participants, we had about 15 persons on the call. Thank you for joining this session. I hope you gained one or two things. The recording will be available during the week. Thank you very much, and that will be all for tonight. Good night.
Thank you and good night.